Hey folks, Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health here, checking in. Today is day 15 of the 21-day Paleo Cleanse. Not much to report, 2/3 of the way through, starting on the last 7 days of this Paleo Cleanse, and everything is going fine for me. Active day out and about, so made lunch my healthy, whole food, solid meal of the day, and going to follow up with my other shake for dinner tonight. So do like having that flexibility so we can make sure I had the opportunity to have my meal with my wife today, so wanted to take that opportunity, not get too locked in and rigid on this protocol. All right, so I wanted to talk today about some modifications. Yesterday we talked about hunger, and we talked about, depending on your size and your activity level, the need to ramp things up. So let's talk about a few modifications or maybe special groups for this. So we've had some people ask, can you do it if you're pregnant? And the answer generally is no. Toxicity in pregnancy are a really big deal in my mind. The reality is mom will download a bunch of her toxicity into baby. Those body burden studies that we talked about a few days back by the Environmental Working Group, so plug for them again, ewg.org. You can type in body burden, you'll find it. Did some studies on the umbilical cord blood. So again, these are fresh out of the oven babies, never took a breath of air, a drink of water, a lick of food, and yet they still have a lot of toxicity in their system, and that is basically coming from mom. So I'm a huge fan of preconception care. That is 6 months or so, possibly longer depending on your health and where you grew up and your general condition, but at least 6 months beforehand. And again, for both mom and dad, this is before getting pregnant, I strongly recommend doing a type of cleanse like this and reducing your body burden so much less will pass on to your baby. But if you are pregnant, not something we're really looking at. Now, here's the wrinkle. When a woman is pregnant, we don't want to mobilize even more toxicity because that exposes baby to more stuff. However, we obviously can take the key step of avoidance, so reducing the amount of exposure we have, and we can give mom some of these vitamins, minerals, and herbs to fortify her own detox system so that anything coming in or anything being liberated normally can be safely processed and gotten rid of. So a very modified type of situation can be done, but in general, not recommending this for pregnant women. How about kids? Can kids do this safely? Well, as with anything, they certainly can, and maybe some modifications need to be taken into effect. We typically don't do a cleanse like this for, pre-teens, kids who are younger than their teenage years. It certainly could be done, but definitely would want to have the doc involved in this, making sure that everything is fine. Once they're kind of teenagers or above, they have a good handle on their health and control over what they're doing, then that would most likely be completely fine. All right, third, what about people who are either extra large, they're, significantly taller, broader, bigger, and what about people who are very physically active, involved in athletics? Is this something that they should do? Well, certainly if you're just larger than average, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. You would need to have more food intake just to kind of balance your calories. Now, in general, most dietary regimens put together with an average human being, which is about 150 pounds. And so if you're significantly more than that, and we're not talking, very over fat, then you'd need to scale up your calories a bit from the average recommendations. If you are quite large and we're talking about over fat or obesity, it certainly could be a really important piece for you. In my recent talk on obesogens for the Ancestral Health Society, I quoted a study showing that when people lost weight, they liberated a lot more toxicity into their system. And one study found that those with the highest level of a lot of these toxic compounds lost the least amount of weight. So I'm a huge fan of people losing any significant amount of weight having a detox component in those protocols. All right, now what about people who are very athletic or very physically active? Well, obviously, if you are very athletic or you are, this is your livelihood, then you would want to be very careful and you would put something like this in an off season or a downtime where you're not concerned that it's going to deeply affect your performance, which could be your livelihood. If you are more of a normal person, but you're a very physically active person, you would of course want to do two things. One, we would say this would be a good time in, something like this, whether it's a 7-day, 14-day, or 21 days, to do some more downtime, some more recovery activities and scale back your volume and activity level at least a bit. Right? The second would be that you are going to need to scale your calorie and nutrient intake based on what you're doing. If you're very physically active, you're certainly going to need to add more calories and more nutrition into your protocol than if you are, like me, more of a desk worker, an office worker, a knowledge worker, right? You're just going to need more. And so the base protocol of 2 shakes and a healthy solid meal may need to be expanded to 2 healthy solid meals and 2 shakes, or 3 or 4 shakes and a healthy solid meal. Just going to need to be a little customized there. So as with everything, the 21-day PaleoCleanse by the company Designs for Health, which is the product that I'm using in this, I've chosen because it's a quality product, because it's relatively easily available and well put together. It's also extremely convenient, which means that it's doable for many, many people. It can easily be modified and changed. And so if you are a pregnant woman, we don't recommend you do this. If you are, a preteen, meaning before teenage years, we definitely have some modifications and need to make sure it's okay. If you're kind of a teenager on up, you're probably just fine to go ahead and use the protocol. And if you are a particularly big person, or you are a particularly physically active person, you probably need to scale up your calories, and that can mean, like we talked about yesterday, mixing in some things like higher calorie liquids to your shakes, having more snacks or more caloric snacks, possibly adding a second meal or additional shakes. All right, folks, a little bit of troubleshooting. Hope that is helpful for you. Today is day 15 of the 21-day PaleoCleanse for me. Going fine, and now I am in the home stretch doing the last 7 days. All right, folks, at Aspire Natural Health, we are experts at treating gut problems, autoimmune diseases, and other hard-to-treat cases. If that's you or someone you know, please feel welcome to contact us. We can set up a free 15-minute phone consultation to find out if we are a good fit for one another, if we can help you, and if you feel comfortable that we are the right people to help you. All right, folks, until next time, checking in tomorrow with day 16. Take care.